I don't know how many people are here.
Oh, my bad.
You know, you can be in this, wasn't it? So you want to introduce? Hello, everybody. Let's see who's here. The market is closing in 15 minutes. Okay, 0 people. Makes sense. Let me share this right now on the Twitter spheres. We got a new camera. It's 7 people actually. So this thing is slow because I see 7 on YouTube, but it's slower on StreamYard. Ahad, what's up? What's up, bro? This is my videographer. Everyone can say hi to him.
What's up, everybody?
With this gnarly camera,
$1,700
is what we're going to be playing around with in a little bit. So the market sucks right now. That's the only way to put it. Live market close. Let me put this here. The market is not good. Eric, what's up? Hello, how are you? Thank you for being here. Inflation today, I'm sorry for the lighting, guys. I'm not using the good camera today, so the lighting's kind of screwy, but let me pull up Weibo. Blackmagic 6K. Yes, it's a Blackmagic 6K. 4K. Blackmagic 4K. Sorry. Only virgins care about 4 or 6K. But the S&P 500. Look at this. The S&P 500 that was at 411 just a couple days ago, or not a couple days ago, like yesterday or 2 days ago. It is now at 393. I mean, this is actually insane. Like this is unbelievable. I didn't live through 2008. Like I was alive in 2008. I wasn't, paying attention in 2008 to anything. I guess I was trying to figure out I was 11 years old. I was trying to figure out like how to be alive, I guess. Now I'm conscious of the nature of my own existence. And because I'm conscious, I'm looking at what's going on in the world. And when you're looking at what's going on in the world and you see the market react in such fundamentally irrational and maybe rational ways, you start to see just how insane it is to actually have money invested in the stock market. S&P 410, 430 2 weeks ago. Jay Powell comes out, says inflation is going to be bad. Market tanks, then market rallies because they're like, actually, inflation is going to go down. And Jay Powell's just like, he's just saying whatever, right? Jay Powell doesn't really, he's just doing what he needs to do, but it's not really that bad. And then inflation comes out, and apparently Jay Powell wasn't kidding. Maybe he knew that inflation was actually going to rise, core inflation, not just go down to 7.9 or 7.8% from 8.5 like all of us thought. Bitcoin, by the way, 237 points away from being below 20K. And what we got this morning was pretty bad. I woke up this morning and I checked Twitter, and it wasn't there because I woke up a little too early. Then I checked it again, and I was expecting like 7.9, 7.8. I was like, we'll be fine. And it came in at 8.3, but basically it's up 0.1% core. And I'm like, this is not good. Like, I don't think the market's necessarily going to like this. So S&P, you can see at 392. Let's go to Dowjones. It's down 1,000 points today. I don't know if this is the right. Well, let's go to the NASDAQ first. Let's go to NASDAQ. NASDAQ also down 640 points today, 5%. That's a lot on the NASDAQ. That's a lot. Palantir, 748. I picked up about $100 of Palantir, just like threw in a little bit of money in there. DNA, also below $3. Zoom is hitting its 52-week low. Look at this. 52-week low was 77.79. That was a little bit earlier in the day. So we are at the 52-week low on Zooms. Jay Schwartz has bought 427 shares of Wish today. That is a phenomenal purchase. I believe so. Not good today, buying extra day. However, this is an opportunity to buy the dip. This is a phenomenal opportunity, in my opinion, to buy the dip. And the dip may keep dipping, and if that happens, I think there's an opportunity here. Now, one thing that's interesting about everything that's going on, this is an article I talked about a couple of days ago, is that Goldman Sachs is laying off hundreds of employees. And you kind of see this stuff and you start to get a recognition of corporate profits and corporate earnings might be in jeopardy, even though earnings for big tech last month were pretty good. I mean, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, they all put up pretty great numbers. Spotify put up good numbers. Google put up good numbers. Google made $62 billion in like 30 days. Like, it's insane, the numbers that they put up. The problem is if it's sustainable in a world in which interest rates have to rise to be able to curb inflation, and if that's happening for the end consumer, are they willing to continue to pay more? Are advertisers willing to advertise on these big social networks if the consumer is not willing to spend money on ads? Everything is interconnected, and because of the interconnectedness of everything, it brings into question the PE ratio of the overall market being at a 20, potentially having to go down to about a 15. And if that happens, we have a broader dip. Now, 15, I say 15 because that tends to be the average from like 12 to 15, and right now it's you could say it's overvalued at a 20. Got more SoFi today hot. I did bought some SoFi as well. I think you may need more than one share of the dippy dip. Look, I'm ready to buy more of Tesla. I just think if we're going to get a little bit of a better dip, then maybe I buy, on a little bit of a better. Tesla's barely down today, 292, not really bad at all. So, I mean, it's a pretty good ending on Tesla. Let's look at some other stocks. Let's look at Ark. Ark Innovation is incredibly interesting to me. Ark is actually very attractive to me. If we look at the RSIs, the Relative Strength Index, it is oversold. It is just above 30 on the RSI. You want to buy stocks that are in the 30 to 40-ish range. You don't want to buy them when they're above 70. As you can see, when it was here at $88, it was above 70. It was screaming that it was going to come down. And even at 60 on the RSI, it came down. 60 is pushing it a little bit. So Ark is something also I'm looking into. I sold all my Ark at about $48.50, and I just put that money into Palantir at $10. Obviously, Palantir continued to go down from there. But Ark is something that if the macro gets better, interest rates start going back down to normal, which may take the next 12, 15 months. We don't know. This may be an incredibly attractive price for Ark, especially because of some of the things that she's purchased. Let's also check out some of the buys. Talk to me when the S&P hits 3,400. I'm very excited for when the S&P hits 3,400 because I've got some dry powder. Let's look at Ark's buys over the past couple of days as well. Let me pull up their charts. By the way, if anyone's not following me on Twitter, at AmitIsInvesting, I would recommend following. If you have a Twitter, if you don't have a Twitter, you should probably make one just to check it out. It's a pretty cool platform. And we're going to go through some of their buys. Jackalope says, Amit, don't touch Ark. Yeah, to be honest, I'd rather buy some individual stocks I care about versus Ark. But you can't say it's not a trend. Like looking at Zoom right now, given their forward PE, I mean, it's attractive at $78. So here is Ark's trades from yesterday. They bought DraftKings, 32,000 shares. I don't know why. I really don't understand the bull case on DraftKings at all. Someone maybe in the chat could explain it to me. They not only do they lose money hand over fist, I don't see like the macro level vision. Like a Roku, I can see the vision. Zoom, I can see the vision. DraftKings and gambling, I don't see the vision at such an intense level. So you bought Nvidia as well, 8,000 shares of that. Nvidia's gotten destroyed, being at 132. What's Nvidia's price right now? Let's check it out. For someone who's super long term on just like chips and semiconductors and growth and like Nvidia at this price seems nice, but again, it could be a little bit too much given if the S&P falls to 3,400, these stocks are going down the gutter and people will make a killing on the way down and they will make a killing when they buy at the bottom. The question is, what is going to be that bottom? And I think we don't know that. UiPath, she bought 59,000 shares. DraftKings yesterday or 2 days ago, she bought another 45,000 shares. Twilio also 2,000 shares. And so she's bought DraftKings, UiPath, and Twilio in almost all of the three main funds. ARKK, ARKQ, and ARKW. Now, if we go to some of the stocks she has, let's pull up. What do we need to pull up? Let's pull up. Hold on, where's the window? Let's pull up Zoom. I think I'm already on it, right? No, I'm on. Okay, let's pull up Zoom. So that's NVIDIA right there. By the way, we're 6 minutes from the market closing, so we'll get to the closing bell in a second. We are $78 on Zoom. Again, so Zoom's at a market cap of $23 billion. Kathy Wood sees this stock becoming a $1,200 to $1,500 stock, which means from here it's not even a 15x. It's like 17, 18x. Like it would be an amazing trade. They're putting up about $1.2 billion in revenue per quarter, so $4 billion a year. So they're trading price to sales at about 5.8. I mean, you would argue that Kathy's probably going to buy a lot of this stock today if I had to predict. The bull case on Zoom is also incredibly interesting to me. It's a one-trick pony that I get, but it's a one-trick pony that's really good at being a one-trick pony. And it's not really just a one-trick pony. That's not really fair to them. There's a lot more components to it. But nonetheless, I mean, it's an interesting stock to think about. If Zoom is down this bad, you can imagine some of the other things that are down in Ark. If you could only buy 3 stocks, what would you buy except for Palantir? I would buy SoFi. I would buy a lot more SoFi. I would probably buy Tesla. Obviously, I'll throw Tesla in there just because we'll throw Tesla in there. And honestly, I would probably buy the S&P 5. I mean, I know it's not a stock, but if I had just the money, I would put in the S&P at 390 and see if I could write it down. Coinbase at 74. If not S&P, then probably DNA. DNA, I'm still doing my due diligence. Haven't made a full video on it yet. I'm reading through the short report, trying to understand why people don't like it. Yesterday, one of the VPs of DNA, Ginkgo Bioworks, a biotechnology company, it's like a platform approach to drugs, got selected to be the head of the White House's genomic new department or something, like a very prestigious position for the White House, selected from this company. It adds to a little bit more of a thesis that this company and the leadership there knows what they're doing and they're really building something special. And Kathy has put her money where her mouth is when it comes to that. And at this price, at $2, $2.9, it's like, again, there's asymmetric opportunities everywhere. The question is identifying them and really being able to understand them. Unity down 14% today. Is SoFi heavily shorted? I don't believe so. I have to check on that, but I don't think SoFi has a super heavy short report. Wow, Unity is down 14%. What's Unity on their max? So they were at 210 in November 2021. 42. So the collapse was when they were 90 to 40 from April to May. That was the big collapse. Let's look at Upstart. Upstart is just it's been a rough year for Upstart. Look at this. Upstart was $400 in October 2021. Even in November 2021, it was $325. And it went down to a low of 22. Upstart. There were a lot of people bullish on that Upstart stock, man. Upstart had some people out there. Just bought Alphabet A-class. We buying Google here today. So I've publicly said, Google, I am looking under 100. I know that's crazy, but if we can get the S&P to go down to the 380s, 370s, and again, I think it's going to be hard because a lot of times when that starts happening, the market starts reversing because they're like, well, if everyone's bearish, we're going to be bullish, and they're going to play this little back and forth nonsense. And that's why I said in June, I wish we went from 360 to like 300 on the S&P because we would know it's a bottom. Or at least we would have a really good feeling like, all right, this is the time. Like, yes, could we go even lower? Maybe, but at some point it gets so oversold that it would be just screaming to just go in. Right now, I don't feel that necessarily. Google long-term, obviously very bullish. YouTube is going nowhere. YouTube is the new television. Very, very bullish on YouTube. I mean, it's just, it's better than any type of content entertainment platform on the planet. And there's no debate about that. There's no one who can clearly articulate an argument for why Netflix is better, HBO. They don't have the content. It's just that simple. You can make an argument for TikTok because they have the content. Again, TikTok's just not that much long-form type of entertainment, but YouTube is an animal. And so YouTube's going to continue to grow. Google will continue to grow. Google search will continue to grow. That's not going anywhere. They're making innovations in so many different areas. What is their market cap? Their market cap is $1.38 trillion. Yeah, to imagine Google being a $200 stock and being a $2 trillion company is not insane. It's just the double on a Google versus the double on a SoFi obviously seems misplaced to me. I don't think that's going to happen, right? Or I don't think one happens quicker than the other. We are 45 seconds away from the market close. I have my bell with me today. So for those who are here part of the market open, the bell was in the market open. Now the bell will be in the market close. And Tristan, my videographer, is going to be very annoyed every day as I ring the bell. But that's okay because we got to ring the bell. So as soon as we hit 4 o'clock, the market will be closed. It's just not that exciting because it's like, okay, the market closes. But as soon as the market opens, you see so much more action. So it's more exciting when the market opens. But nonetheless, we have to commemorate the closing of the market. All right, here we go. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The United States stock market on September 13th, 2022 is closed. All right, it is closed. Let's see some things going into after hour, and then we'll get into a couple of different bits on the news. Let's just see where the S&P ended. 393. All right. Now, again, 8 p.m. is where we're going to see the real stuff, right? Because we have after hour trading, but nonetheless, I'm currently down 66% on Upstart. I'm sorry, Jason. I had a friend who was big on Upstart, and it happens. No bulls, no bears, time for the cows. I love it. The markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solid. All right, let's see what the talking heads are talking about, how they are theorizing about what's going on in the market, and let's see how they... Oh, President Biden celebrates the passing of the historic Inflation Reduction Act. Isn't this kind of weird? The day the inflation goes down, are up. He's celebrating it. Let's watch this for like a couple minutes and then we'll move on. Just a couple minutes.
We pay more for our prescription drugs than any developed nation in the world. Let me say that again. In America, we pay more for prescription drugs than any developed nation in the world. And there's no rhyme or reason to that. For years, so many of us have been trying to fix this problem. But for years, Big Pharma blocked Medicare from negotiating lower drug prices. But not this year. Not this year. This year, the American people won, and Big Pharma lost. Now, Medicare will have the power to do what so many Democrats and Republicans in the past talked about doing. Lower prescription drugs.
All right. Well, I just wouldn't have picked today as like, why would you? I think the White House strategically, they didn't expect inflation to go up. So it shows you how clueless everyone is. Because if you knew inflation was going to go up, why would you celebrate the Inflation Reduction Act today? I don't like that. Wouldn't make the most sense to me. All right. Let's see what we want to watch. Let's hear this one. The Fed should have started raising rates last September.
Mike, no
Let's hear
doubt
what they're saying.
You heard that fiery discussion with Rick, and I'm not knocking the Fed in 2020. We had no idea what was going to happen for about a year. But after about a year, we started to realize that certain things were happening in certain states. Not a health judgment there, but it's the reality of what was on the ground. How late, or maybe not at all, was the Federal Reserve's policy response? How responsible are they for what we're seeing right now?
Yeah, the Fed was pretty late to the party, Brian. I think you can look at the Fed's policies starting, call it middle part of last year, maybe out to September, latest case, and the Fed should have been cutting back. At a minimum, it should have stopped increasing its portfolio size, and it didn't. That sounds kind of arcane. Probably should have increased the Fed funds rate a good 3 to 6 months earlier than it did, but it's pretty far behind at this point, and it's going to play catch up pretty aggressively, we think, over the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, and the market reacting so strongly to what is going to be potentially a 0.75% or even 1% increase at the September meeting next week. Why is this additional 25 basis points, whatever it may ultimately be, Michael, why is that sending the Dow down 900?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, Brian. We think about it and talk about it and say 75 is sort of a given. Well, think about that for a second. 75 basis point hike people are taking for granted. This is incredible. A few months ago, it would have been completely off the radar screen. Now it's almost commonplace. So it's this notion the Fed doesn't really know how much it needs to do. I think that's what spooks the market. So is it so much about 25 basis points extra 8 days from now? Not really. It's more about what do we expect 6 months out, 9 months out, a year out? Is it 4.30, which is what the market price is today for the terminal rate? Is it something like 5%? We're just not all that sure. And more importantly, the Fed doesn't seem all that sure. I think that's what's scaring people.
Yeah, and you wonder, does it also stretch out, and it's going to sound ridiculous today, Michael, you forgive me, rate cuts. At some point, we're going to be talking about rate cuts because the economy will slow down. The Federal Reserve has told us they've got to basically crash or at least slow the economy to get inflation down. It's the only way they can do it. Does this also then push out this concept of when the Fed might start to re-ease? And I know how silly that may sound right now.
It does sound a little bit strange, Brian, but it's sort of interesting when you consider the market pricing. There actually is some easing price toward the latter half of next year. Now, my colleagues and I at Wells think this is frankly a bit crazy, but when you look at the Fed, you'd say if the Fed does push too far and the economy completely craters, could it possibly cut late next year? Maybe, but a lot of things would have to line up. I think the market's gotten ahead of itself. I think it's a case of wishful thinking really dominating the factors on the ground, and the market will push back that rate cut toward at least the last part of next year, maybe to 24.
Shepard Smith here.
I love Shepard Smith, bro. Every time a video ends like Shepard Smith here, I'm like, that's my guy. Anyway, so yeah, that's a very interesting thing that he kind of talks about, right? It's like the Fed should have started raising interest rates last September. Obviously, they didn't. The interesting thing here is the analysis here around 75 bips versus 100 bips, which would be 1% versus 0.75%, and how much we're taking it for granted, right? The market's like, okay, so we 75 is too much, or at some level, if inflation is bad, 75 is not enough. This is what Bill Ackman was talking about months ago. He was like, the Fed needs to get on inflation. Let's move it up by 100 bips, if not even more, and rip the Band-Aid off, which was kind of his argument. Now, obviously, Ackman also said we should willingly go into World War III, so take it with a grain of salt. But the point is, he was trying to get a message across that inflation is bad. And the Fed was a little bit slower, right? As they were doing 50, then they finally went to 75. And now now, like a year ago, 75 wouldn't make sense. Now it's like maybe 75 is not a lot. And I think that's the thing to think about. Bro, the lights are crazy. Is that a window? That is. Let me see if I can pull back the lights a little bit. Oh, it's on the other side. Yeah, the thing's on the other side. I'm also not using my good camera, so that's why the lights are crazy as well. Elon tweets are being suppressed from Twitter. Oh, one thing we got to do when we show you the Twitter thing. Hold on. Let me show you this. You guys probably didn't see this today. This was an internal text message that was released as per the Twitter Elon case. And look at this thing. This thing is interesting. Okay, here we go. So here we go. Elon Musk tests his banker, Michael Grimes, May 8th, 2022. You guys see this, right? Okay, let's slow down just a few days. Putin's speech tomorrow is extremely important. It won't make sense to buy Twitter if we're heading into World War III. I think Elon was trying to make a point here. I don't think Elon actually thought we were going into World War III on May 8th, 2022. I think he wanted to I think he realized, wait a second, Twitter is too expensive and I need to have some excuse to not buy Twitter. The next thing here is he says, an extremely fundamental due diligence item is understanding exactly how Twitter confirmed that 90% of their daily active users are both real people and not double counted. If that number is more like 50% or lower, which is what I would guess based on my feed, then they have been fundamentally misrepresenting the value of Twitter to advertisers and investors. This is funny for two reasons. Number one, again, I love Elon, but you needed to do this before you offered $44 billion for the company. Number two, I don't know if you can just base it on your feed. Elon's the most followed guy on Twitter. And also Elon only follows like 107 people. So to say that it's just your feed, I don't know. It's a weird metric, but nonetheless, I do think there are more bots. I'm on Elon's side and I don't think he should be forced to buy it, but it's interesting to kind of see these text messages come out. I wonder if his banker's related to his baby mama Grimes. I actually thought that as well. Is Michael Grimes related to his girl or his baby mama? I don't know. Maybe. You never know. You never know. Okay, here's one thing I wanted to listen to, and it has to do with Pinterest. Okay, so let's look at Pin's stock real quick. Pinterest is a product I've been starting to use a little bit more as a content creator. I know that sounds kind of crazy because I'm not a 40-year-old mom, but I think there's opportunity on Pinterest, and I want to check out the stock a little bit. So I think its stock is at like $20. Where is it at? $24. Okay, so stock hit a high of 89. I remember I bought it at 14 way back in 2020. And I sold it, I think, at like 19. So I missed the run up to 90. But it's at 40 on the RSI. It's fallen from 90. Its daily active users are actually growing. And their monthly website traffic is about 1 billion hits per month. And they have about 443 million daily active or monthly active users. And so let's look a little bit at what Pinterest's opportunity is. The reason I want to look at this is because Pinterest and Snapchat are two very interesting social media companies to me. Their stocks have been absolutely decimated. And I kind of feel for Snapchat, it's a bit of an overreaction given the sheer amount of users they have. Granted, I understand the advertising is not phenomenal there, but their user growth and their engagement is phenomenal. So at $11, Pinterest at $25, these are things I think at least it's important to think about if you don't want to dive deep into Facebook and Google, that for them to 2x, 3x is going to be a lot harder for like a Snapchat to go from 10 to 20.
Shares of Pinterest, they are also down more than 5% at the moment. A number.
By the way, for people that don't know, Pinterest is a visual search engine. So if you search for stuff, you'll find a ton of content that is visually stimulating, and it's easier to consume and find new products and services versus something like Google for Pinterest.
Of key issues that play for the company: the ad market, e-commerce, overall economic activity, and inflation. CEO Bill Reddy joins us now here in an exclusive interview at Communicopia. He just took the helm in late June after holding senior positions at both Google and PayPal. Bill, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And on quite the market day, but you're no stranger to this.
That's right.
You were at PayPal during a similarly turbulent time, skepticism over the business model. So how do you approach Pinterest at this moment, especially a time when the market environment for unprofitable tech and the macro backdrop is increasingly challenging?
Yeah, I think it's certainly an uncertain and changing market dynamic. One of the things I feel really great about is that during uncertain and changing times, differentiation stands out more and more. I think Pinterest is a very differentiated platform, having inspiration and intent in the same place. That's quite unique amongst platforms. And so I feel great about that. I feel great about the fact that we help our advertisers differentiate, meeting consumers across the purchase journey. And so I think that differentiation is not only standing out for us, but I think increasingly will stand out for advertisers as they make their own shifts. I can't imagine there's an advertiser in the country that hasn't had their CFO approach them and say, we want you to focus on performance. We want to make sure that you're getting good payout on the advertising. And oftentimes that presents a bit of a choice for advertisers of, oh, you can get to last click, but you lost your brand story. And you're then competing just on price and delivery speed or things like that, versus Pinterest allows advertisers to really reach consumers in that moment where they're still deciding what to buy.
That is incredibly important just to understand the bull case on Pinterest. Like when you advertise on a social network, there's a reason Facebook, Google, they make like billions of dollars per year. It's because the ads work, right? Like when you see an ad, people click that shit and they buy some shit, and advertisers are like, oh fuck, we should give more money to Facebook. And there goes my monetization. We should give them more money because we make more money, right? So Pinterest, what this guy's talking about is there is a differentiating variable between how the intent of someone engages with a piece of content or a piece of advertising content on Pinterest versus on like a Google or Facebook. And the intent is buy. And that's the same thing with Amazon, right? If you search for like iPhone charger on Amazon, you're likely going to buy the stuff that pops up, which is why Amazon as a product search engine is so unbelievably phenomenal. And now you have to generate network effects. You have to have tons of content. You have to have tons of traffic. But if you're able to figure that content part out, and then you make the monetization of that meaningful for consumers, advertisers are not going to go away.
They have intent, but they're still deciding what to buy. And advertisers can both tell their brand story and get great performance on Pinterest. So I think that differentiation is a key to the platform, and I think something over the long term that we feel really good about.
And the key word there, you said it, is intent, right? And that's why I think you saw Amazon's advertising business hold up, because people go there with the intent to buy something.
Yo, I just said what she said, and I did not watch this before. I promise. I need to be a CNBC anchor, bro. Like they need to. I wonder how much this woman gets paid. How much? Put in the chat. How much do you think she gets paid? I think she gets paid like $200K a year. Some may say that's too high. Some may say that's too low. But I wonder how much she gets paid. She's been doing this for like 10 years now. So.
But I don't think anyone needs to be convinced of Pinterest's potential. It's always been there. It's the execution. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to approach that? What do you need to do in terms of scaling that merchant base? And what does that mean for the company's balance sheet and profitability?
Yeah, it's a great point, Deirdre. And I think Pinterest is a platform that has, as you said, tremendous potential, but a lot of leverage left in the platform. And I think that leverage in the platform comes in a few different places. I think one is that while more than half of people on Pinterest say they're there to shop, there's a lot more we can do to take that inspiration all the way to action. And so of those half of people that are on Pinterest to shop, how many of them today are able to click to go to a place to buy something? That's a small percentage today. We can make that a much greater percentage over time. In doing that, that's going to drive deeper engagement on the platform. It's going to be great for our user engagement, but it's also a highly monetizable event as well. And so that's one example where there's a lot more potential on the platform. But broadly speaking, I think this inspiration to action goes across a number of different categories, not just shopping. We see lots of other usage on the platform where we can go from inspiration and intent to action, and there's tremendous opportunity in that across the platform.
Pinterest was ambivalent about video for a long time. Now along has come TikTok. What's the video strategy now, particularly because...
This is a good question. I'm going to pull up Pinterest right now to show you guys what videos look like on Pinterest, because it looked like the same on TikTok, except kind of sucks. Let me show you guys real quick before we go back to the video. So this is Pinterest on desktop. On mobile, it's like kind of the same verticals. But look at this. These are old videos. If I click it, you see it? I can scroll through a bunch of videos. So, I mean, look at this. They're just TikToks posted. Like, TikTok is a different animal, bro, what they've been able to do. But yeah. Okay. Let me go back to the video. But yeah, it's interesting to see what they're going to do to be able to compete with TikTok from a video perspective.
Short form video seems to be pretty good at attracting audiences.
Yeah, it's a great point, John. And we now see more than 10% of the engagement on the platform is video. And so we've been thoughtfully mixing video into the platform. But I think one of the really interesting things about Pinterest is that there's a very unique use case on Pinterest. I think you're seeing multiple platforms sort of compete for, where do you go to watch the next funny dance video? But people come to Pinterest with a purpose. It's not like other discovery platforms that are lean back. It's a lean forward. It's a lean forward activity. You're there with a purpose. You're there to make, to do, to shop. And so in doing that, we think that we can not only update our content with more video, but more content with a purpose, and that's more differentiated. I think the other thing that people may not fully appreciate about Pinterest is that one of the things that's very unique about it is that there's not only great ML and computer vision, but a tremendous amount of human curation that happens on Pinterest. So if you want to go look for a great dress, you can do that lots of places. But if you want to figure out a great outfit, what shoes and handbag and accessories are going to go well with that dress, Pinterest can give you that answer, I think, in a way that no other platform can because of the human curation.
That's an interesting argument at the end, right? The curation mechanism of a platform, I think, is incredibly important. TikTok has an algorithmic curation mechanism that's like just phenomenal. Twitter has a decent, curation mechanism, and then Pinterest has a human curation mechanism, so you can get an answer for a dress to wear at a girls' night out. Again, in a lot of places, but if you get it on Pinterest, there's a different answer you get, and that answer is more valuable because of the curation from humans, which makes it overall more valuable as a platform, and it keeps you coming back. So very, very interesting concept in the concept of Pinterest. All right, let's wrap it up by looking at what's going on in the market. As we wrap up, let's go to Webull here. Pinterest, $24, down 4% after hours. S&P up a little bit after hours, nothing crazy. Where did Palantir end on the day? Let's check it out. 750, so it's up a very little bit. Ark, 0.19. Okay, so nothing too crazy. Now, a new Palantir interview did just come out. I would recommend you guys check it out. It's Stanley Druckenmiller. Let me actually show you. Let's react to one video from it. So Palantir Bite Size, great channel. They clipped up a little bit of it already. Stanley Druckenmiller, who's one of the biggest investors, I believe he just doubled his position in Palantir. He just did an interview with Alex Karp, and I haven't gone through the whole thing yet, but this is a really phenomenal interview to me because it's one of your earliest investors, like showing his belief and conviction in the company by interviewing the CEO. It's really cool. It's actually very, very cool. So let's react to this one video and then we'll end it for today. Thank you, 84 people, for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It was awesome having you guys here today. All right, let's react to this.
I was here 10 years ago. This looks bigger.
No. Yeah. Are you guys filming? Yeah. So, well, Stan's going to ask the question, but I should say from the outset, Stan has been, I think, was one of our earliest investors. Came here 10 years ago at our old office and gave a talk. Isn't one of the leading investors in the world, but on top of being a leading investor in the world, has been a great person to talk to about lots of things, including how our business is running, how it should run, and general, obviously, macro and micro conditions in the world. I believe you've been a friend to the company and to me personally, and delighted to have you here, both kind of on a 10-year anniversary of your last talk and also a day after 9/11, which played a very large role in why we built Palantir. So thank you for coming.
Thanks, Alex. I'm delighted to be here. I think I invested in Palantir 14 years ago. I did quite well financially, but to tell you the truth, I've never been more proud to own a company. What you guys have done and what you've achieved and what you've meant for this country and frankly for the world, it was just a company I was thrilled to play any little part I could in, and you should all be very proud of what you do and what you've achieved, and I can't wait to see what you do in the next 5 years because we're really going to need you.
All right, there you go. There you go. Also, hold on, I got to show you guys one more tweet. Based on what Stanley Druckenmiller just said, Look at this tweet, okay? Now, I don't know how much legitimacy there is behind this tweet, but I think it's from a good account. So, Chris, I don't even know if you saw this tweet, okay? Ready? The United States is in the early stages of discussing sanctions against China in order to deter it from invading Taiwan. That's not good, because we do a lot of stuff in China last time I checked. You know, like you see this wireless mouse right here? I know the camera kind of sucks, but it says made in China right there. And it was $10 and it makes my life easier. And if we make it in America, I don't know if it's going to be $10. So it's now granted, in the grand scheme of things, this might be a good thing because we need to bring everything back to the United States. But sanctions against China to stop them from, I don't know if sanctions stop China from invading Taiwan. Now, granted, their economy sucks right now, so you could argue it does, but it's a weird position to be in, and China just might be more aggressive. Palantir, I think, plays a role if this does happen and in the preparation for if it could happen. So that just sounds like America is asking for trouble. Yeah, I agree. It's not the best. Chris says, bro, we just moved the labor to another country. Well, it's the hard parts of capitalism. But think about this, man. Like, oh, and by the way, my quote tweet, because that was the best part, I'm buying more Palantir. So that's that. Crazy stuff. All right, I think we're done for today. Look, Jeremy right there is on my screen. Little breaking news. All right, I'm going to give some breaking news to the 83 people that are here right now. Because you guys joined the live stream, you guys absolutely deserve this breaking news. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. It's my second market close. Sorry, the focus is kind of up. So I'm going to be breaking the news right here. Don't tell anybody, though. Okay, don't tell anybody. Why is the focus so bad on this? All right, it's better. Breaking news today. Are you guys ready? Only you 86 people get to know because you joined the market close, and it means the absolute fucking world to me that you guys are choosing to join me at the end of your day, because your time is precious, and I appreciate that. Okay? Andre, I don't even know if you know this news yet. Okay? So don't tell anybody. All 85 of you. I am going to be interviewing Jeremy Lefebvre in Las Vegas, Nevada on September 28th in person. Don't tell anybody, because I want the interview to come out on YouTube and it's like, whoosh, everyone's like, oh shit, one of Jeremy's first interviews in person since the last Millennial Money thing. That's the last time he did a podcast in person. I also don't think he's ever done a podcast with anyone in person from YouTube in the stocks and finance space outside of Graham and me, Kevin, and Andre. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be super exciting. It's the first time I get to do it. It'll be fun. We get to go to Vegas. We're going to Vegas for an event for a company. You guys will know about that in a little bit. The company's flying me out, so it's totally free. So it's super dope. And I texted Jeremy. I was like, yo, I'm in Vegas. Want to do a podcast? And he was like, yeah, for sure. So it's going to be super, super fun. Love the market close virtual hug. Thanks, Amit. BTW, when are you and Tom? Me and Tom were supposed to do the podcast today at 4:30, but Tom got busy. So it's going to be tomorrow. So 4:30 tomorrow. It's going to be there. Jeremy is awesome. Like, ask what his relationship with his Kevin now. I'm pretty curious about that because it seems like, yeah, I want to ask him some good questions people actually care about. So I'll ask him, and, you know, whatever he says. I don't want to push him on that, though. It's just, you know, I just want to, I want to get to know him a little bit better as a person versus just ask him about stocks, because it's an in-person interview, right? You want to get to know the person. So going to be super fun. Excited for that. Don't tell anybody. All 78 of you. This should be, I'm not putting it on Twitter or anything. I just want it to be like a fun little thing when it comes out. All right. Thank you everybody so much for joining. I appreciate it. Link in the description for my startup. It would mean the world to me if you sign up and check it out, see what we're doing. We're growing pretty decently, and I want to take it to the moon. I'm also trying to grow a big company one day. And so if you could sign up, it's trying to make a new way for audio creators to get discovered. It would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you guys so much. I will see you in the late night stock stream tonight at around 10:45. So I'll see you then. Don't mention Tattoo Chef. We got to talk about the chef. I'm going to go buy the chef and I'm going to bring it to Jeremy. We're going to share. That's the best video. Eating Tattooed Chef with Jeremy. Okay. Tristan, I got the idea, bro. That's going to be a phenomenal video. That's going to be great. All right, everybody. See you late night stock talks tonight. And if not, I'll see you in the morning live stream. Bye-bye, everybody.